Okay, before we start, I'm trying to look without the suit jacket. What do you think? Yes? No? Maybe? Just, mostly I was worried because, like, when I sat down, the shoulder pads of the jacket made it look like I have no neck. And I already have enough problems. I already look like I don't have a neck now, so, I don't know. Still toying with this whole thing. Let me know what you guys think. That out of the way. I began my review of the classic DuckTales series. We're talking about episode 1 of volume 1 of the disc, and so episode 1 of the vlogs. And this is clearly not episode 1 of the series. I don't know why this keeps happening on DVD sets. The same thing happened when I did Let's Watch Cops. The first episode is not the first episode of the series. Like, there are parts of DuckTales that I forget. Like, I remember some things and forget other things. It's been a while since I've seen the show, but I remember very clearly the introduction of Huey, Dewey, and Louie, and Donald Duck was there, and he took his nephews to go live with Scrooge because he was going away in the Navy. That's not what this episode is. The first episode on this set, and it's still on the player, but it's disc 1, episode 1. First one's at episode 1 through 9, I believe, and it's set on the menu, episode 1. But it's called Send in the Clones. And hey, I like a good clone story. I still like the Spider-Man clone saga. I know there are problems with it. Oh boy, there are problems with it. But I like Ben Reilly. Just the concept of clone is just a thing that just fascinates me. So it's like, alright, cool. But like, I remember that's not the first episode. And I get, like, production order and airing order are different things, and that syndication was a big issue. So there wasn't really, like, a thorough storyline. Like, they're all standalone episodes, so they can just be aired in whatever order. But every series has a pilot episode. Why that is never the first episode on a friggin' box set confuses me. Okay, I know these are made cheap. This one's a little expensive because it's Disney, but the Cops one's cheap, I get that, but you still start with episode 1. I'm sure in the middle of this series, I'm going to run into the actual first episodes in one of the friggin' discs. It's just irritating. That said, how's the episode itself? Well, actually, it took me a while. This is one of the episodes I remember, because it starts with Magica doing her thing about wanting to get Scrooge's #1 dime, and so she goes to free the Beagle Boys, and when it had that scene, I'm like, oh, I remember that scene. Yeah, I remember this one. She uses her magic to turn the Beagle Boys into Huey, Dewey, and Louie, so they can go steal Scrooge's #1 dime, and she can rule the world! And the B plot of that is there's a reporter who is a Barbara Walters parody, because at the time that's what everyone did. I think it was like, she still had Walters the last name. Webby Walters, I think it was something where it made fun of Barbara Walters' accent. But, you know, basically, the boys go off to a movie, and there is, like, a moment where Scrooge is telling the nephews, like, hey, I want you on your best behavior, because this reporter's going to do an interview on me, I want to look good. And they're like, well, we could tell her how you gave us money to go to the movies, because they wanted to go to the movies first. And like, and gave us money for snacks. And Louie was like, and gave us money to buy new bikes. Like, that's something 2017 Louie would do. So, guess some groundwork was laid there. But, you know, it's basically Beagle Boys disguised as the nephews come in, try to find dime, reporter there, hijinks ensue all over the place. So, pretty standard plot. I don't know how much I'm going to get into it, but my impression is, like, it does still hold up surprisingly well. Like, the animation's still really crisp. And, like, I'm trying not to draw parallels between this series and the new series, but, you know, you're going to. Like, the voices aren't as jarring as I thought they were going to be. I have been watching Darkwing Duck on Disney+, and Launchpad's old voice was really jarring when I got used to the new ones, but, like, I guess the original Scrooge voice is so imprinted on me that it's not that different not hearing David Tennant's. I also did watch Mickey's Christmas Carol with him on there, so there's that. And, you know, the voice of the nephews, she was in the new series playing young Donald, and I believe she passed away, so rest in peace. And so, you know, it's just interesting what I remember, like, what is imprinted in my brain for so long that I'm like, oh, okay, it's not that bad. But here's the thing: the one comparison I do have to make is Mrs. Beakley and Webby, because first of all, I know this is a later episode in the series. 'Cause I clearly remember Beakley and Webby being introduced, and it was like, I don't know what seasons they were, because, you know, I didn't know seasons back then, and I don't know if they kept them by season, but I knew it was later in the series. So I was like, wow, we really jumped ahead on this one. But, you know, Mrs. Beakley in this one is way more doddering and doting. Like, part of the spell, like, the flaw of the spell that Magica used is the Beagle Boys' true selves are revealed in mirrors. And so she's trying to fight with two of the Beagle Boys' disguises, Huey and Dewey. And she puts the blazers on, like, their coats on them so they look nice, which, ironically, I don't have my coat on with me talking about this. And she holds him up in the mirror. It's like, oh, there, you look nice, just like the Beagle Boys. The Beagle Boys! And then immediately faints. And in my mind, I'm like, man, New Beakley would have immediately beat the crap out of them. And, like, there's a moment where the one disguised as Huey is having a tea party with Webby, and there's a big fight, and she ends up, it was Dewey ripped the head off of her doll, whose name I can't remember right now, and she's crying about it, and like, yeah, I knew Webby would just like would just kicked him through the wall. So, you know, I'm gonna not try to do that much. But eventually the ruse is found out, especially when Magica like changes them back, and one of the Beagle Boys is in the mansion tied up, and then the other one and one of the nephews and Mrs. Beakley is in the copter going back to Magica's hideout, which is her giant head! Ah, I miss those days. That's just fun stuff. And so, you know, there's a good moment where Huey gets himself free because he's a junior woodchuck. Aha! And he, like, he frees me Beakley, and like, we're gonna fight fire with fire. And I do like, she's like, how many times I told you, don't play with matches? Like, no, not literally, we're gonna throw magic stuff. So it's a big magic fight. And a lot of that actually was in the opening credit sequence. So I was like, oh, that's probably why these stuck out a lot. It's just magical transformations, like one turns a bull, one turns dragon, chicken. Magica gets turned into a crow herself, and I forgot the crow was her brother. So I was like, how do you like it? You know, good stuff. And then Scrooge shows up and basically tricks Magica into giving up the #1 dime for a fake one and get Huey back, and it ends with a big laugh because the volcano explodes, and of course she's fine because it's cartoon. So, you know, yeah, I didn't go too much in depth. I don't know how much I'm going to, but like I said, it was still like a really good episode. It was a solid, fun episode. Animation's still really good. Like, they really didn't cheap out. I know they're probably going to be mistakes somewhere. Ooh, excuse me. Because that's just the way things happen. Even now, there are still animation mistakes. But no, it's one of those things where, like, when I go back and look at it, it isn't like, oh god, why did I like this? Like, oh yeah, I remember why I like this. It is fun, but mostly I'm just distracted by just why the first episode on this set is something that's so deep into the series. So, that's the start of the DuckTales vlogs. I hope this was entertaining and maybe somewhat informative. I'll try to go more in depth with characters and things like that next time, but this time I just had to rant about the weird-ass order DVDs are in. I swear they're random. Like, it has the movie, The Treasure of the Lands, and for a second I thought, well, was that the beginning movie? It's like, no, that came afterwards. I remember it was like a mini-series that started off, and I'm wondering if this is one of those things where they just didn't include the mini-series. And again, why wouldn't you? It's the whole set, the whole series, and you didn't give me the opening miniseries? Alright. Well, till next time.